This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Raza Hamza over Zoom. Raza, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm okay, Andy. How about yourself?
I'm okay, mate. Obviously, as we've just briefly spoke off camera, we both seem to be getting a little fed up of being locked indoors. Now, how are you finding lockdown and life at home?
For the first 3-4 weeks, everything was really serious, and we'd be locked away, and you wouldn't go out, and you'd be worried. But in the last 2-3 weeks since Ramadan started, like, we do go out a bit and get what we have to and just do what we have to do, and that's it really. But mate, I'm sick of it now, but kind of used to it, if you know what I mean. Sick of it, but kind of used to it, and that's it really. Do miss the old life, but it feels like we're never gonna have that life again.
Obviously, I spoke to Akib Fiaz, I think it was last week, and he's also fasting, and he's talking about how he's finding it and he's coping with it okay, and with his training, he isn't really impacting it because he just said he was just training on the night after he's eaten and what have you. How are you finding it? How are you finding fasting and training?
Yeah, Akib's got his brother in it with a pad man and trains him, so Akib's got it like nice, and it's all at home. But with fasting and training, what I try to do is I try to do a little session just before the fast opens or midday, not try to kill it. But most importantly, in this month, my plan was to go Saudi Arabia as my mom's buried there and stuff. So I don't usually do anything in this month, but I've been doing bits and bobs. But once again, like, I don't know when I'm gonna fight, when boxing is gonna return. So I'm not really like killing myself. I'm doing a session every 2 days.
Obviously, you just mentioned like you're not really sure as to when you'll be back on that. What kind of discussions or what have you had with your managers, your promoters, with MTK about where the land lies with your future?
Well, up to now, I'm not. We're in no management contract no more.
Okay.
Me and MTK have parted ways, and we've gone our own separate ways. Tom Stoker was managing me, but we've left on good terms. We've had a good chat, and yeah, we just went on the same page, and that's it really.
What was it that you thought different, you had different opinions about, and why you wanted to go down a different route away from MTK?
MTK have got so many fighters, and they've got, I believe that I need to be with a management team who have not got many fighters, who have got a few fighters, and I'm a priority. In this sport, it's never anything personal, but I just feel like if I go to a management which prioritize me and put me first, I can achieve my goals a bit faster.
So obviously moving away from MTK, then from the sounds of it, what or who have you been speaking to about trying to do some work with, and who might be looking to manage you or promote you in the future?
With the lockdown going on, I ain't really spoke to anyone. I've had a little chat with one person. Obviously, it's confidential. But other than that, with all this lockdown stuff going on, I ain't really bothered about it, because I've thought it's Ramadan as well. It gives me time to focus on my religion and spend time with my family. But once this is over, then I'll get serious. And once again, I don't know when I'm gonna box, because unless you're with a big time promoter and they're gonna put 5 fights on each show, you don't know who's gonna box and if you're gonna box.
You've obviously had periods of inactivity throughout your career, not necessarily for your own fault, be through fights being cancelled or just not being able to secure certain bouts that you've wanted. With lockdown at the minute and everything that's going on, how much has that impacted your own mindset, and how are you kind of looking to make up for lost time when boxing does return? Is it playing on your mind?
Yeah, it's always playing on my mind, because I was meant to have my breakout fight again in the end of March, a week after we got into lockdown. So once again, I trained for 10 weeks. I was ready. I fighting a tough and durable Mexican who fought Kiko Martinez. And, it just, it's not the first time it's happened. I've had, in my whole career, at the 15 fights, I've had about 6 pullouts, which are step-up fights, or 7. So it just upset me. But listen, it's one of them ones. I mean, this was out of hand. It was in nobody's control. With this pandemic we're going on in the world, and there was bigger things to focus on than the boxing. For example, staying safe, looking after your family. So when I see other fighters posting stuff like, oh, I was meant to fight, oh, this and all that, I think to myself, dickhead, like, there's much bigger things going on in the world, like, stop being selfish, you know what I mean? So this time it didn't really affect me as much, so I thought it is what it is, and just stay safe and look after your loved ones.
You've mentioned to me off camera the fact, you've sparred with
Mm.
Calderwood, former world champion Kemal, who's obviously making his own way in the sport now, and Noi Niue, obviously, who's many considered to be in the pound for pound
Mm.
list. When in the past, people have spoken to me about other fighters, not yourself, how they kind of can get that reputation of being a brilliant sparring partner, but not quite being able to deliver in fights. Are you worried you might get that tag that people might look at you as just a sparring partner and not somebody who could deliver in bigger fights?
No, because I've not been given the opportunity, the correct opportunity to showcase my skills yet. I mean, you ask anybody who trains me or has worked with me in the past, it's not. I'm not a sparring partner. I mean, if I was only a sparring partner, some of the kids I've stopped. I know the journeymen, but some of the kids I've knocked out, and how quick I've knocked them out. That must tell you something about me, you know. And I'm not. I don't spar as well as I fight. You know, sparring and fighting is two different things. You're focused when you're going into a fight. You're prepared. Sparring is like practice. I don't look at sparring too much.
Obviously, sharing a ring with Noi Niue and Calderwood. At one time, there was talks of them both potentially having the chance to face each other.
Mm.
I know Cal's just lost to Chocolatito, but back then, if they'd have fought, would have been best part of probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. How do you think that would have played out?
Oh, it's a good question, man. It's a very good question. I think you ask me this every time you ask me this question. You put me on the spot, man. You know what? Calify on his day is really, really good. But so is Naoya Inoue. I don't know. At super flyweight, anything can happen because Inoue struggles to get down to that. So I think when Cal was at super flyweight at its very best, I think he would give Inoue problems. But Inoue is he's getting better and better and better, and I think he will go up the weights. He ain't sticking around at bantamweight. He's moving up very quickly. But that question, I'm gonna give it a miss.
I have to try. I have to try. Obviously, we know anyway. Where would you rank him in your pound for pound list? Many starting to give him a bit more recognition. I've seen of his past 6 months or so, especially since his Nonita Danier victory. Where would you rank him?
I give him I'll rate him at number 3. I think after Lomachenko and Terence Crawford, out of them two, number 1, I'll give him number 3, 100%, man. The guy's at 16 or 17 fights. He's a 4-weight world champion and he's moving up another weight. So, sorry, 3 or 4-weight world champion and moving up another weight. So, credit where it's due, man. He's, I think he's in the top 3 or 4.
When you reflect on your time with Noi Niue, is it hard not to kind of, or does it frustrate you even that you haven't had opportunities come when people hear about the fact you've been chosen as one of the main sparring partners for somebody of his standing in the sport?
They called me back as well, you know. They called me back when my brother died. They called me to come back. And, yeah, I mean, your question. It's like I'm a big believer in God, you know. I'm a big believer in destiny, fate. What's written is written, and it weren't my time then. You know, 2 years of my career have gone now, like 18 months to 24 months. Sorry, it's going to be 24 months now. It is 24 months. It weren't right for me, and I've had a lot of lows since then. However, I think I've matured more now. I've become more of an adult, and I think when it comes to me now, and I take my chances, it's going to feel better than what it would have felt then. Because then I was early in my career, 3 years in, and it would have been like, it would have been nice, but not as nice as it would feel now. So I'm a big believer in destiny, and when the time's right, and now is the time. It's going to be the time. As soon as boxing goes on, I will achieve my goals.
When boxing resumes, how can you kind of see the coming year, 18 months or so playing out for yourself? What have you set in terms of targets?
I I know I'm gonna win. I know I'm gonna win a few belts. I know I'm gonna be a champion. I know in 18 months' time, I know I'm gonna earn a bit of money, and I'm gonna be a champion. And I know that. I know for a fact I'll have a few straps, or at least a strap around my waist. As soon as boxing commences in the next 18 months, I'd like to have 4 or 5 fights. Potentially 4, and pick up 1 or 2 belts, defend it, and see. Stay on the right path and the right direction.
There's been talks about behind closed door shows possibly coming into play in the near future. I believe July's been touted now for British Boxing Board of Control's recent letter sent out to promoters and what have you. Would it be something you'd be interested in? Would you consider fighting behind closed doors, or are you more so on the side of waiting until fans can attend, amongst others?
I mean, for my own career, I'd like to fight. So if that's behind closed doors, I need to think about myself first. And inactivity is the wrong thing for a fighter. So I would fight behind closed doors, but for the fans, they can watch it on TV. So if I'm fighting behind closed doors, I'm sure there'll be some sort of arrangements where people can still watch. So as long as we're fighting, we're getting paid, the fans are watching us, home or in the arena, everybody's a winner, aren't they?
Raza, obviously, just before I do let you go, because I know you're going to have a busy evening ahead of yourself, just want to get your thoughts on a few things in boxing. Well, we have briefly touched on Calderwood earlier. He obviously, last time out, was unsuccessful against Roman Gonzalez. What was your thoughts on Cal's performance?
I've spent 18 months with him now in camp, and I've known him for a few years. I just think he was at the wrong weight. I think he stayed at he was a world champion at super flyweight. So I think him being a world champion kept him at that weight longer because he had so many 5 or 6, 7 defenses or something. So I think, sorry, how many?
I think it was 6.
Yeah, 6 defenses. So I think he stayed at the weight a bit too long because I've seen him spar when he's around bantamweight, super bantamweight, and I've seen him handle more than his own against bigger lads. So I think that night we watched Kalya fight, his legs weren't there because, I think he struggled to make the weight. Well, I know he struggled to make the weight, and I know the weight weren't right for him. So I think once he's at the right weight, which he will be now, he'll go on and become a 2-weight world champion.
I've spoken to Cal since, and we was on the same flight home as well. And, I've spoken to him on numerous occasions, and he has said he's not only is going to move up, he's told me he's going to move up to bantamweight. A potential fight, which has always been talked about, is him and Charlie Edwards. Would you be interested to see them both clash at bantamweight now? Charlie's come out and said he's going to be moving up as well.
Is he moving up to bantamweight?
That's what he's been told previously.
I thought he's moved up to super flyweight.
So he was obviously flyweight world champion. When I interviewed him in Birmingham at a training session that Sonny was at, and Charlie was there, and he said to me in that interview he was planning on trying to move up to bantamweight. So
I think he struggles with Cal at bantamweight. I think Cal's experience, Cal's ring IQ, I think it might be a bit too much for him. But listen, Cal needs to get it right, and if Cal gets it right, I don't think there's many people that beat him at that weight.
Obviously, another one of your campmates, Kemal, he's had a very frustrating couple of years, tearing both of his biceps, and now going through what we're all going through with lockdown. What do you make of Kemal when you see him in the gym? What kind of potential do you see in him? What do you think he can achieve?
He's good, man. He's a good fighter. I spar him so much. Like, we do so much together. We do most of our training together. And you know what? His hard work. That Gavin McDonald fight, it weren't him. It weren't him. I think he overtrained and he just got it wrong on the day. But I think is going to be a world champion. I think is around fringe world level now. I mean, you'll see when he gets his opportunity now. I think he's matured more since that McDonald fight. I think he's learnt more. I think he's took his training a bit more serious, and I think he's ready to step up. He's ready. He'll knock that geezer out for the European title. He stops him, and he can punch as well. So I think Gamal Yafad's got a big future in the sport. As long as he stays injury free and stays active.
Obviously, just to move away from the fights in your gym, and just a couple of other questions. obviously a lot of talk at the minute about that potential undisputed heavyweight title fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. If it was to happen, I know both of them are locked in for fights, depending on contractual situations, of course, with what's going on. But say whenever that fight does, or if it does happen, Joshua Fury, how do you think that would play out?
Listen, I'm a big fan of both of them, but going by momentum and performances and the ring generalship, I think Fury. I think Fury's just the man right now. What do you think? I don't know. Joshua's like a really good boxer. When he wants to box, like the way he boxed against Ruiz, he just outboxed him for 12 rounds. But I think Fury's the boy, man. I just think he's gonna take some beating, man.
Do you give Joshua a better chance than what Deontay Wilder has?
Oh yeah, Joshua can box. He's a very, very good boxer. He's an Olympic gold medalist. So anybody who says Joshua can't box is deluded. I don't think Wilder can box. I mean, I don't think Wilder. I think Wilder just a banger. Like if he catches you, he puts you to sleep. For example, all them fights, a lot of the fights he was losing, and then he'd spark him out. But with Joshua, he's a proper good boxer, and he's got one of the best trainers in the world, and the best corners in the world. So I think Joshua's got a very good chance against Fury. It all comes down to who gets it right, you know.
And
But
another
I think, I think that fight shouldn't be just one fight. I think it should be 2 or 3 fights between them two.
obviously, just before I do let you go, there's another fight which is kind of not being discussed, but it's been flowing about over social media, Matt. Andy Ruiz Jr. and Tony Bellew, some people kind of having some type of interest in that if Tony Bellew was to come out of retirement. Would you be interested? If so, how do you think Tony would fare against Ruiz Jr. now he's linked up with Eddie Reynoso and Canelo?
I think Tony, once you're retired, a fighter should stay retired. I think Ruiz is going to go and improve leaps and bounds. You know, I think his training is going to go up a notch. I think his discipline is going to go up a notch because now he's in with a camp of hungry lions. He's got, Ryan Garcia, he's got Canelo, and I think the fact that them boys he has to stay away from home now, doesn't need to train with them boys. I think Ruiz will come back better than ever as well. But I think Bellew should stay retired because once you're retired, he's chilling. Just stay retired, man. You made enough money.
Well, Raza, we will leave that there. But before I do let you go, what would you like to say to everybody who tunes in to watch our interview?
Keep supporting, and soon I'll have some good news for everybody, hopefully. And thank you very much. And stay safe. Look after your loved ones. And just stay safe and have a nice day.
Raza, it's been a pleasure as always to catch up with you. I'm sure I'll speak to you soon and hopefully in person. Best of luck with the coming months. Stay safe and thank you, Speak to Boxing Social.
Thank you, Andy.